Hello and welcome to how to use RadBench tests. So this presentation is aimed at academic tutors or clinical development leads, anyone who is trying to develop the clinical skills of their staff in the domain of image interpretation. So these recording templates that I'm going to show you, they are available in either 4 or 6 decision-making format. And they can be used either with the RadBench image sets, or you can create your own, and you can just link the RadBench recorder to your own image set. I'll explain that as we go along. At the moment, these tests are only available in English and French languages. We are hoping to make Swedish and Portuguese in the not too distant future, but at the moment they're just available in English and French. Now I'm just going to explain to you here the 6 decision option, but as I say, there is a 4 decision option as well. This is the one that we recommend because it gives you more granularity with the data. So effectively there's a traffic light system applied across 6 decision states. The green decisions are definitely normal and probably normal. Now, if the student is completely unsure, they still have the option of having an amber, possibly normal decision, which is rated number 3. Conversely, if they're probably or even definitely certain that there's an abnormality, they will score it 5 or 6, which are red decisions. But if they think it's abnormal but they don't really know why, they can score it a 4, which is an amber decision. So this process is used throughout the system. The recording tool allows a student to either use the what, where, how format for description, or they can just write full sentence PCE, or they can do both. But the option is there for them within the system. So the recording tool works in an Excel sheet, and this is the first sheet here. It has an instructions page, and it shows, first of all, it's very clear. It says you must use, in this particular case, RadBench test 1, but of course you could customize it yourself and have whatever test bank you so wish. And it tells the student effectively what they're going to do. They're going to save this Excel file with their own name, and they're going to fill in their responses on the next tab. You can see at the bottom of the page there are 2 tabs. There's one called Instructions and there's another one called Response. It's the Response tab where they're going to write their responses. Here you see the response sheet from the self-same file. What happens here now is that the student makes a decision as to whether they think the case is normal or abnormal, or are they not sure, with a 1 to 6 rating, as we explained earlier. And then they write down what they see, either in a what, where, how format, or in a full sentence PCE, or they can do both, just dependent upon their skill level. And the next slide I'll show you one where somebody's actually responded, and that's kind of then self-explanatory. Here we go. So now the student has responded to all these questions. I've just enlarged it a bit so you can read it easier. There are 30 questions in this particular test, but you can either have 20 case format or 30 case format, whichever you prefer. Now this particular student has elected simply to describe using the what, where, how format, and they haven't written a full scale sentence in the form of a PCE, but you'll get the idea as to what happens. So the student completes all the questions, and then they press save, and they save the file, and they send the file to you. And then I'll show you what happens next. So here we have the file that the student has saved, and they've sent it to you. You now unlock the password protected analysis tab, and this is what you see. I've made it small so I can show you the full extent of what's on the page. There's a lot of information here. So I'll go through it one stage at a time so that you can see it enlarged. Here we go. So now a little bit larger so you can see. Now all the responses that the student made have been transferred automatically through into the white cells. So we have their responses and we have their written responses as well. And all the diagnostic information, the correct report, the correct what, where, how, is all in the blue cells. Now, if you're using a RadBench test from us, this will already be programmed. If you want to use your own test that you've built yourself, you'll actually need to put a correct response into the blue cells. So let me scroll down and I'll show you what happens further down. So down towards the bottom of the sheet here, on the bottom left, you can see where the student, here's the sensitivity, the specificity and accuracy. You can also have the NPV and the NPV if you so wish. Again, they're just some more hidden cells that I haven't shown on this particular case. So that allows you, the student and yourself, to know what the performance of the student is in terms of sensitivity, specificity and accuracy. Now, in terms of decision making, these are all the color-coded decisions in column E using the traffic light system. And you can see the little table at the bottom where it's correlating there how many green, red and amber decisions they made that were correct. And that's displayed in the graph to the right. And so here you can see the student, who is a novice to be fair, it shows you that they made a lot of amber decisions, which is good if they're still a novice. They're recognizing they're a novice and we're not expecting them to make all red and green decisions, because it's better to make a wrong amber decision than a wrong red or green decision where you're pretty sure you knew what the correct diagnosis was. And so there's one table that shows the decisions that they made, and then to the right of it, it shows you what errors they made. Now, in the ideal world, if they are making any errors at all, they're only going to make amber errors because they weren't sure. We don't want the student making green and red errors when they thought they were absolutely right, and of course they're wrong. So let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so I'm highlighting here in the scoring system, you can see a red 0 there. Now, what's happened here is that the student has made the correct red decision. This is an abnormal case. However, what they have done, if you read the description, they have actually described an injury, but in the wrong place. So they've got the right answer for the wrong reason. And so the score has been corrected from a 1 back to a 0 again. And obviously that's going to be reflected in their sensitivity and specificity. So the fact that the student can get the right answer for the wrong reason is corrected for. And now let's focus on the what, where, how. You can see each of the separate component responses, and where the student has missed particular parts of the correct answer, those are highlighted in red so that it helps them to focus with that feedback. And you can see the correct PCE in column N here. So what happens is that the student gets, for an abnormal case, they get 1 point for what, where and how, and they get 3 points for a correct normal case. And so this is scored through each individual case, and then it comes with a total at the bottom, which I'll show you next. So here we are at the bottom of that column, and you can see in this particular case the student has got a PCE score, a commentary score of 39%. Now, bearing in mind that we're looking for 90% to be participating in PCE or commentary schemes in clinical practice, there's a lot of learning to be done here. but this is a reasonable way of the student learning from their mistakes and developing their skills, and it's a very nice way to benchmark the capability of the staff and the students. So there we are. That's a very quick overview of how the RadBench test system works. If you'd like to know more, feel free to email us, and we will try and help you as best we can. Thanks very much. Bye bye now.